Okay, be honest. Has this ever happened to you? You're stuck in a conversation, everyone's talking about classic books, and you're just nodding along.
Hoping no one calls you out.
Right, exactly. That classic literature intimidation, it gets us all.
It really does.
But, dear listener, never fear. Today, we're diving deep into the world of classic lit.
And by the end, you'll be able to talk about Dickens and Dostoevsky.
You'll be able to hold your own.
Yeah.
In any conversation, with anyone, about anything.
And the best part, no reading War and Peace.
We'll give you all the cheat codes so you can understand why these books...
Casually,
Yeah, casual.
work them into conversation.
You're a pro.
Think of us as like literary wingmen.
I like that.
Guiding you through the characters, the big themes,
So we can impress our friends.
Oh, yeah. And dominate trivia night.
Okay, first things first, what even makes a book a classic?
Right. Like, is there some big ceremony where they get knighted, literary royalty or something?
I wish. That'd be cool.
Yeah. No official checklist. But there are certain things, qualities, that make a book a classic, like standing the test of time.
So it's not about being old and dusty.
No. It's about the book's ideas, the themes, still being relevant for readers today, across cultures.
Okay, so it's about these like universal human experiences, like love or loss, ambition maybe?
Yeah,
The search for meaning?
exactly.
Okay, I'm with you.
Like Pride and Prejudice. I mean, it was written ages ago, but the drama, trying to find love, social pressure, it's still so relatable, even if we're not all trying to find a husband in like 19th century England.
Right, I feel seen.
Exactly. And that's what makes it cool, connecting those timeless themes to today. Think about 1984.
Okay, yeah.
Orwell wrote that back in, what, like 1949?
Yeah.
But all that stuff about surveillance, truth, more relevant than ever now.
Yeah.
With all our technology.
Right, it's like, did these authors predict the future or something?
Yeah, right? It's kind of spooky.
So, let's say someone wants to sound smart about classic literature.
Yeah.
Without reading every single book, where do they start?
Well, I think it helps to pick a few themes that you really like. Let's say you're into relationships, All the messy stuff, the drama, passion, reason, all of that.
Okay, sounds juicy.
Right. You might want to start with Wuthering Heights. It's got like tons of romance, revenge, class conflict.
Wuthering Heights.
Oh.
Talk about drama. It's like a gothic soap opera.
Right. Set on those wild English moors.
Okay, I get it.
And when you're talking about the book, you could just drop in a question like, is Heathcliff a hero or a villain?
Ooh, good one. Everyone has an opinion on that.
Exactly. And you've started a conversation.
And you don't even have to have read the whole book.
Exactly. It's all about connecting,
Okay, yeah.
And there are other ways to engage with these books, too. Movies, plays, graphic novels, even memes.
Memes. Okay, now I'm really listening.
Right. It's all fair game.
So there are all these ways to unlock these books, but let's be real, they can be really long.
Some of them, yeah. It's a commitment, but you don't need to read every word to talk about them.
That makes me feel better.
Focus on the important stuff, Maybe check out a character analysis online. And don't worry if you haven't finished the whole thing.
That's a relief.
Sometimes it's more about the journey.
Right, not the destination.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you.
And you know what else? A good quote goes a long way. Like, imagine you're discussing ethics.
Okay, yeah.
And you just casually drop in a line from To Kill a Mockingbird. Something like, you never really understand until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it.
Instant credibility.
Right.
Mic drop.
Just like Atticus Finch is still dropping truth bombs decades later.
I love it. Okay, we've got themes, we've got quotes. Anything else to help us sound like we belong in this literary club?
Well, one of the best things you can do is connect the old stuff to today's issues. It shows you get it.
Okay, I like that. So, how can we tie in To Kill a Mockingbird with, a conversation today? It feels so specific to its time.
Oh, for sure. But think about it. All that prejudice Tom Robinson faces,
Yeah.
it's still relevant. Racial profiling, systemic bias, equality.
Wow. You're right. It's so timely.
Right.
That's what I love about these books. They're like mirrors.
They show us how far we've come.
Yeah.
And how far we have to go.
Exactly. And that's where the magic happens. When you start to see those connections, it all makes more sense.
It becomes more accessible.
Way less like a boring old textbook.
Exactly.
Okay. So far, we've got pick a few easy classics, Focus on the big themes and good quotes and connect those ideas to today. What else? How do we sound like pros?
It's not about lecturing or showing off. Be curious. Ask questions.
Right.
So instead of saying something like, oh, did you know Orwell wrote 1984 because he was, like, totally against totalitarianism?
Yeah, no one wants to hear that.
Right. Ask something like, do you think all our technology is leading us toward, a surveillance state, like in 1984?
Oh, that's good. Gets people thinking.
It sparks debate.
And it doesn't sound like I'm reading Wikipedia.
Exactly. It's about the exchange, the back and forth.
Okay, to recap, choose a few easy classics, focus on the big themes, find some good quotes, and link those ideas to things happening now. Ask questions. It's not about showing off, it's about sharing.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I feel like I just leveled up. In literary confidence.
That's the goal.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
But shared knowledge, that's where the fun is.
Absolutely.
We've been talking about, like, sounding smart. But I think what really matters is just enjoying the conversation, connecting with other people who love these books.
I completely agree. It's about the shared experience, exploring these stories, debating the ideas, just appreciating how amazing they are.
This is giving me so much to think about.
Me too.
Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, anything else for our listeners?
Oh, yeah. This is just the beginning,
Okay.
Classic literature, it's huge. There's so much to explore. Different genres, different time periods. Just be curious. Don't be afraid to share your perspective. You never know. Maybe you'll inspire someone else.
I love that. It's like we're all part of this ongoing conversation.
Exactly.
And that's what makes it so cool.
It really is.
Yeah.
One of the cool things about classic literature, it's how these books get adapted, reinterpreted over time. Like, they never stay the same.
Totally. It's like every bookstore has, like, a Pride and Prejudice with zombies.
Yeah.
Or pirates.
Exactly. And yeah, they can be fun, entertaining, but it shows you how these stories grab us, speak to us, even today.
Right. It's like they spark all these new ideas. Like, take Elizabeth Bennet. Suddenly she's fighting zombies instead of societal expectations.
Right. And it's not just books. There are movies, plays, operas based on these classics. They bring in new audiences, fresh takes.
It's like this never-ending conversation, building on what came before. Okay, speaking of conversations, what about those people who just, like, throw in literary references all the time? Do they have, like, a secret dictionary or something?
Well, I think it comes down to, like, a love for stories, for language. When you're immersed in classic literature, you start to see things, the word choices, the little details,
It's like training your brain to see the world through this, like, literary lens.
Exactly. And it's not about remembering every detail. It's appreciating the art of it all, how language works, and using that to make your own communication better.
Okay, I like that. So it's like learning a new language, but instead of speaking French, you're speaking classic literature.
And just like any language, it takes practice. The more you read, the more you absorb those patterns, the rhythms, and then it's like it just flows naturally.
So it's not about trying to sound smart or anything. It's more about expression, connecting with people who love the same stories.
Right. It's about enriching how you communicate, seeing the power of language.
Okay, I'm sold. So what's the secret? Do I need to, like, carry around Shakespeare and quote sonnets?
Well, that might be a bit much. It's more about being aware, noticing things, like pay attention to the language in those classics, the word choices, the sentence structure, the way they use metaphors, similes, all that good stuff. And then try it yourself in your own writing, even when you're speaking.
Ooh, that's a cool challenge. It's like taking the master's tools and making them your own.
Exactly. And it's a process, it takes time. Start small, maybe pick a favorite quote, or see how an author builds a mood with imagery and stuff. Over time, your communication will just get richer, more nuanced.
This is really eye-opening. I'm seeing classic literature in a new way. It's like a toolbox for better communication.
And that's the exciting part. These works, they give us so much knowledge, insights, things we can use in our lives and how we talk to each other.
Okay, before we get carried away, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Those classic novels that are just, well, intimidating. Moby Dick, I'm looking at you.
Oh, yeah. Some of them can be daunting, that old-fashioned language, complex sentences, and just the length.
It's like staring up at Mount Everest. Will I ever make it to the top?
Right, but you don't have to climb the whole thing at once. Start with a base camp, maybe a shorter work by the same author, or a modern adaptation,
Okay, so Baby steps before the marathon.
Exactly. Break it down. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Join a book club, find a reading buddy, or even just check out online forums. Sometimes hearing other people talk about it can really unlock things, make it more fun.
It's like having a guide leading you through the tough parts.
Exactly. And remember, the journey's as important as the destination. Take your time. Savor the language. Enjoy getting lost in the story.
I'm feeling way more confident now about tackling those big books and finding those hidden gems that really speak to me.
And that's the beauty of it. There's always something new to discover, even if you've read a book before.
Oh, speaking of revisiting books, have you ever noticed how your take on a classic changes as you get older? I mean, it's like the books grow with you.
Totally. It's one of the most fascinating things. The books evolve with us, revealing new layers as we get more life experience.
It's like they're reflecting back our own growth.
Exactly. And it shows you. Classic literature, it's not static. It's a conversation that keeps going across generations.
So, like Catcher in the Rye, maybe it felt rebellious when you were a teenager,
Right.
but now as an adult, it might hit differently.
Exactly. And that's why these books endure. They speak to us at different points in our lives. They offer insights, perspectives, things that resonate with us wherever we are.
It's like having a wise old friend who always has something insightful to say, no matter what you're going through.
And like a good friend, they challenge us, make us think, help us understand the world and ourselves.
This is making me want to reread some of my favorites, see what I pick up on now.
I know, right?
Okay, we've talked a lot about the intellectual side of things, but, sometimes a book just hits you in the feels.
Oh, totally. Classic literature goes deep, right to our emotions, whether it's love, grief, anger.
It's like they give us permission to feel it all. The big stuff, the messy stuff, no judgment.
Exactly. They show us we're not alone. These themes, they've been around forever. Love, loss, ambition, they resonate with everyone across time, across cultures.
It's like finding comfort in this, shared human experience. We might be different, live in different times. But those core emotions, they
Yeah.
connect us.
Exactly. And sometimes just knowing someone else has felt the same way, it can be so powerful.
Okay, confession time. Sometimes I get a little intimidated by all the fancy literary terms people use. Do I need a PhD to understand this stuff?
Not at all. It's great if you know those terms, but it's not a requirement. You can enjoy these books, talk about them without a fancy degree.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
The most important thing is your connection to the book. What speaks to you? How does it make you feel? What do you learn from the characters?
So it's not about the jargon. It's about sharing your honest reaction.
Right. How the book makes you feel.
Exactly.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't understand something, people are happy to explain.
It's like learning together. Everyone contributes, no matter what their, level is.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so rewarding. You connect with people, challenge your own ideas, and you learn about the world through stories.
I love that. So let's say I'm at a party and someone brings up The Great Gatsby. How do I join in? Without sounding like I'm back in high school freaking out over a test.
It's okay to admit if you haven't read a book. You can always be curious, ask for a summary, or what the big themes are.
So instead of pretending I'm an expert, I can be like, hey, I've always wanted to read The Great Gatsby. What's it all about? Who are the main characters?
Exactly. You're showing interest, opening up the conversation. You might even discover something new that makes you want to read it.
Ooh, that's a good point. It's like turning something intimidating into a learning opportunity.
Right. And even if you haven't read a specific book, you can still talk about it, connect it to other classics or themes you know.
So if they're talking about the American dream, The Great Gatsby, I could bring up Pride and Prejudice and how it deals with ambition and social class.
Exactly. It shows you're thinking,
Yeah.
making connections, even without knowing every detail of that specific book. You're finding those common threads.
This is giving me so much confidence. It's not about proving anything. It's about exploring ideas together, different perspectives.
And that's what it should be, a joyful experience, connecting with this rich literary heritage, sharing your own unique views.
We've talked a lot about discussing books with others, but what about just reading by yourself? Sometimes it's just as valuable, like having a private conversation with the author.
Oh, for sure. There's something magical about getting lost in a book, letting it take you away.
It's like creating your own world, a little escape from everything, and you can go at your own pace. Really take it all in.
Exactly. And those quiet moments, they let you connect with the story more deeply, with the characters.
It's like having that one-on-one with the author. You explore your own thoughts, your interpretations, no pressure.
Exactly. And sometimes those solo reading experiences are the most powerful. They change how you see things, connect you with yourself.
I love that. It's not just about being smart or knowing a lot of facts. It's about feeding your soul, connecting with what makes us human.
And those personal connections are what make it so powerful. These stories, they stick with us, shape how we see things, inspire us, remind us about the things that matter, the timeless truths.
This has been so great. I feel like I need to make more time for reading, both on my own and with other people, and approach these classics with, a fresh outlook, more curiosity, more appreciation.
That's what we're hoping for. Remember, there's so much to explore, different genres, time periods. Just stay curious. Don't be afraid to challenge your own ideas and let the stories lead you.
Okay, I have to admit, sometimes I feel overwhelmed by all the different classic books out there. Where do I even begin?
It's easy to feel overwhelmed.
Right.
But don't overthink it. Just start with something that interests you. Maybe it's a theme, a historical period, a particular author. Follow your curiosity.
So it's less about checking boxes and more about finding those books that spark joy.
Exactly. And don't worry about reading everything in a specific order. It's your own personal journey. Explore, experiment, and see where it takes you.
I love that. It's about making it your own.
Exactly. And remember, reading should be enjoyable. If a book isn't grabbing you, it's okay to put it down and try something else.
That's a good reminder. We don't have to force ourselves to finish every book we start.
Right. There's no pressure. It's about finding those stories that resonate with you, the ones that make you think, feel, and connect with something larger than yourself.
This has been so helpful. I'm feeling more confident about diving into the world of classic literature and finding those hidden gems that are waiting to be discovered.
That's what we're hoping for. Remember, classic literature is a gift. It's a chance to connect with the past, to understand the present, and to imagine the future. So embrace the journey and let the stories guide you.
As we've been talking about all this, I've realized something. It's like there's this whole other language hidden inside these classic books, like a secret code.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's like all these authors across time, they're having this big conversation using symbols and themes and literary devices and stuff.
Exactly. And we get to be part of it. As readers, we're like deciphering these messages, connecting the dots across centuries.
It's like cracking a code, peeling back the layers to find the real meaning.
Okay, that's a great way to put it. So for someone new to this whole classic literature thing, what are some of the codes they should look for?
Well, one of the biggest ones is symbolism. Authors use objects, colors, even nature to represent ideas or feelings.
Oh, like what? Give me an example. I love a good symbol.
Okay, think about The Great Gatsby, the green light.
Yeah.
It's not just a light. It's about Gatsby's longing for the past, that dream of getting back with Daisy,
Wow. I never thought about it like that. It's like these little details. Suddenly they mean so much more.
Exactly. And once you start seeing those symbols, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
The white whale in Moby Dick, the Scarlet Letter, the raven in Poe's poem, they all add these layers to the story.
It's like the authors are leaving clues, little breadcrumbs for us to follow. I'm starting to feel like a detective.
That's the spirit. And it's not just symbolism. It's how authors use metaphors, similes, how they structure their sentences, those recurring themes, It's all part of that secret language.
It's like they're playing this game with language. And we're both the players and the audience, trying to figure it all out as we go.
Exactly. And it's a rewarding game when you have that aha moment, you see a deeper meaning, or you connect two different books.
I'm ready to grab my detective hat and revisit all those classics. But, it's more than just codes, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's something deeper going on here.
It's not about sounding smart at parties or winning trivia night. It's about, becoming more empathetic, seeing different perspectives, understanding what it means to be human.
You got it. Classic literature, it's like a window into other worlds, other times, other ways of thinking, feeling.
Exactly. And when we stepped into those worlds, we meet all these characters who might be totally different from us. And we learn to see things from their point of view.
It's like walking in someone else's shoes,
Right.
We step outside ourselves, experience the world in a new way.
It reminds us that even though we're different, we share these, core human experiences. The good, the bad, the struggles, the victories. It connects us.
Exactly. And that's one of the most amazing things about classic literature. It connects us to our shared humanity.
This has been so eye-opening. I'm feeling really inspired to reread some old favorites and explore new books with this, new awareness, looking for those codes. and being open to different perspectives.
That's great. Remember, the world of classic literature, it's huge. It's always changing. So stay curious, challenge your own ideas, and let the stories be your guide.
Well, dear listener, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of classic literature. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a lot more appreciation for these timeless works and all the ways they can enrich our lives.
Me too. It's been wonderful exploring these ideas with you, and I hope our listeners feel inspired to start their own literary adventures.
A huge thank you to our expert for sharing your incredible insights and passion with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And to our amazing listeners, keep the conversation going. Share your favorite classic books, discuss the themes that make you think, and let us know what literary treasures you've discovered. You can find more source material for this episode on our Patreon. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
Remember, classic literature is not just for dusty bookshelves or classrooms. It's alive, it's vibrant, it's full of wisdom and beauty, and it offers endless opportunities for connection.
Until next time, happy reading. And remember, this is not professional advice. Thanks for being a listener. Click the card above to explore our playlist and find more episodes. And hey, if you really appreciate our work and want to help us keep creating awesome content, you can find us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/McAllister. Or if you just want to buy us a coffee, head over to buymecoffee.com/Jamie McAllister. All content, copyright Jamie McAllister.